A problem last night in the NBA playoffs. Here we go. James Harden was ready to go last night, but it was the Utah Jazz who got blown out in game one who were ready to play. Look at Donovan Mitchell casually stepping into a three. Forced to play point in the absence of Ricky Rubio. He had 11 assists, and the Jazz had a 19-point lead in the second quarter. But James Harden's team is never out of it, and James Harden got it going in that second quarter.
He sure did. Overall, he was terrific, Green. He had 32 points, 11 assists. He wasn't efficient as you would expect the potential MVP to be, but ultimately he was the guy that kept them in the game because the Utah Jazz played a terrific night.
He was 2 of 10 from 3 in the game. He got a lot of his points at the free throw line, 12 of 13 from the line, as you mentioned, 32 points, 11 assists for James Harden. But that spectacular dunk by Harden on Favors got some attention, but the one everyone was talking about was this. Degree of difficulty, please, Jalen Rose.
I got it.
You hardly ever see a one-step dunk for an individual right after he shoots the ball.
Come on, man.
That's like he was shot out of a cannon, a pogo stick.
So Mitchell was sensational, but his best moments last night, as I mentioned, were dishing, and most of the time it was to that man. Joe Ingles made 7 threes in this game last night, 6 of 6 on passes from Donovan Mitchell. And in the end, he's pulling away. Dante Exum is pulling away. Ingles finished with 27, and the Jazz win game 2, 116-108, to the dismay of Mike D'Antoni.
We can correct everything, and we can correct our energy, and we can correct the necessary focus that we need to have. And, you know, you get lulled into sleep. You think this stuff's easy. It's not easy. It's the NBA. It's semifinals. It's not easy. And we kind of we get lulled into it, and we paid for it.
Okay. So did they get lulled into sleep? Jalen, in the meeting this morning, you made me very interested because you said to me, I saw a bunch of red flags last night for the team with the best record in the NBA. What were they?
A couple of them. You heard Mike D'Antoni alluded to it. He said the team didn't have energy. He said the team didn't have focus. Here's what he didn't say. He only played 6.5 guys. And the Utah Jazz, here's what a half means. Guys that basically play under 20 minutes.
Gotcha.
And so
few of those.
when you continue to only play a limited amount of your roster and 8 through 14 know that they're not going to participate. I played for Mike D'Antoni my final season. He's a terrific coach, no doubt about it, no shots at all. But one of his weaknesses, like all coaches, he shortens the lineup during the playoffs. He really shortens his.
He really does.
And what happens is when 8 through 14 know they're not going to play. By the way, we used to call ourselves the fitness club because we know we weren't going to play. Whether foul trouble, whether matchups or adjustments, the other team sees like, okay, I can slide in Dante Exum and get him some points. I can slide in Burks and allow him to get going. And so I think that's something that I see with the Houston Rockets. And the other thing is, I like the dynamic of Chris Paul and Harden like everybody else. But what I said I wanted to see is how would they behave in a close game in the playoffs when one guy had the ball and the other guy was spotting up. Chris Paul, a career playoff low, 3 assists for one of the best playmakers we've seen in the game.
What'd you see?
Well, my MVP, Joe Ingles, stepped up last night in a way that I don't think a lot of people saw. I find it interesting that you say that he only plays those guys. Now, is it so much a part of D'Antoni's strategy as a coach that he will not – because we've seen coaches across the board so far in these playoffs have to tweak their lineups, and Ty Lue being front and foremost in that regard. But will he change it at all?
He will not change it. Mike D'Antoni is an innovator in a lot of ways as it relates to pace and space basketball. But when it comes to his lineups and how many people he plays, he's very inflexible.
One other extremely quick thought from me would be that one of the benefits, I see NBA TV ratings and everything are soaring because we only see like 6 or 7 teams every single week on television. But there are really good players on a lot of teams that you never see, and thus you never hear about them. Utah did not have the season they had by accident, and now you're getting to see. They've got a bunch of good players on that team. This thing might be a fight. Let's see Hembo's big number here. 2 items in particular fueled Utah's Game 2 success. First, they shot 72% off passes in the game. They share the ball. They move the ball. You know what they do? They play offense. They actually play offense as opposed to just giving one guy the ball and everyone else standing around. It's a delight to watch. They also locked up Houston's ISO ball. The Rockets don't play offense. They averaged 20% fewer points per chance yesterday on ISOs than they did in the regular season. So they're one apiece. Now let's get up and go. Run you through everything in sports. It's sponsored by Post-it. And everyone is talking about that Donovan Mitchell dunk. You need to hear how it sounded in Utah.
Donovan, left-hand dribble, teeth the defense, off balance, right-hander, short, got it back! Hey, Champion, oh my gosh! I've never seen anyone ever do that! Holy cow!
Mitchell would say afterwards, I just happened to be up there, so I figured, why not
Bang,
get that?
bang. I love that. Right over Clint Capella, too. Again, the degree of difficulty right here is phenomenal. The one step, the quickness, the strength. Donovan Mitchell is a special basketball player.
Oh, look at that, yeah! I am shocked by what I see.
Went strong to the bucket.
And again, the dunk is spectacular. Playing without Ricky Rubio, he had 11 assists playing point last night in the game. Let's not lose track of the things that actually won them the game. In the Eastern Conference, Kevin Love's elbow to the jaw of DeMar DeRozan late in Game 1 should have been a flagrant one. It was upgraded to such by the NBA yesterday, and if you were watching Get Up yesterday, you would have known that was going to happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time tomorrow, Kevin Love will be assessed a flagrant 1 foul for his elbow to DeMar DeRozan's head.
Jalen told us it was going to happen. It was at that moment, the Raptors were up 2 with just over a minute to play. They would have had 2 shots in the ball.
Toronto would have won Game 1.
That's awful. This is an awful mistake.
It is, and this is not something that I blame the NBA for coming out later and acknowledging that it's a flagrant foul, because the only way you can upgrade it is to acknowledge it. The officials during the game have to get this right.
Right, but why tell us now nothing can be done and they've got the L?
They're telling us because they upgraded to a flagrant 1, and the number of flagrants you get can lead to suspension.
Baseball, Bryce Harper leading off again, and this time he led off the game with a home run. So it's 2 games in a row he's batted leadoff. He hit a homer 2 nights ago. This one actually coming leading off the game. It's the 18th time in his career that he started in the leadoff spot. The first time he's ever led the game off with a home run, and the Nationals have won 4 straight. They win at 9-3, and that coupled with the Mets falling apart completely has been interesting. Giancarlo Stanton hit 2 home runs last night.
Hey, buddy!
How about that, guys? And he hit him off Dallas Keuchel, who has notoriously destroyed the Yankees. It's Stanton's 30th career multi-home run game. He got there faster than all but 2 players in history. Only Ralph Kiner and Juan Gonzalez got there faster.
Juan going, gone.
Beetle, the Astros, the Yankees have won 11 of 12 and 2 of 3 against the Astros. But the Red Sox are also staying hot. Harper and Stanton doing well, but Mookie Betts outdid them all. Mookie Betts 3 home runs yesterday, leading Boston to a 5-4 win over the Royals. It's his 4th career 3 home run game. That passes Ted Williams for most in franchise history. When you do anything as an offensive player in Boston more times than Ted Williams did, it's noteworthy, and that's not where it ends. Mookie Betts is the 17th player in history to hit 3 home runs in a game at least 4 times. Here are some people who never did it 4 times. Hank Aaron didn't do it. Babe Ruth didn't do it. Willie Mays didn't do it.
Say hey, kid.
If you knew nothing and only watched shows, you think Mookie Betts was the greatest baseball player of all time.
And you know what?
That's the only name we've heard all season.
Right now, you wouldn't be wrong. And then there's this. Yoenis Cespedes had the bling working yesterday in a game against the Braves. He hit a bloop double in this game against Atlanta yesterday. And then he had a very expensive wardrobe malfunction. So you're going to see as he goes into second base, his necklace is going to, for all intents and purposes, explode. And it looks like there's glass all over the field, but it's not glass. It's ice. There are diamonds all over the diamond.
We assume they're diamonds. They could be cubic zirconia, first of all. Secondly, this used to be a fight Marcellus Wiley and I would have all the time. Why all the jewelry on the playing field?
Certainly last night it was a mistake. All right, Anaheim, Albert Pujols is now just 2 hits shy of 3,000. He went 2 for 4 in the Angels' win last night. His hit number 2997 was a first-inning home run. He then hit a double, so he's at 2998. He's 2 hits away from 3,000. He's over 600 home runs. He's won 2 World Series. You want to make an argument that Albert Pujols is one of the 5 most accomplished baseball players that have ever lived. You could make that argument and defend it easily. Tiger Woods, speaking of all-time greats, back in action later today for the first time since the Masters. He'll tee off at 12:50 Eastern at the Wells Fargo Championship. And he spoke yesterday about what he's been up to. Give this a listen.
Well, I threw my clubs in the closet for about 10 days. Got away from the game, didn't touch a club, didn't make a golf swing. I played a lot of golf heading into Augusta and more golf than I thought I would be able to play. And because this is all new. And it was nice to shut it down, reflect, analyze, sit back and try and figure out what's the best course of action going forward so that I can win events.
It's really just great to decompress sometimes, isn't it, Greeny? Just throw the clubs in the closet for 10 days.
I always find that so hilarious because what I would do if I needed to decompress is take the clubs out of the closet and go play golf for 10 consecutive days.
Because this is what he does for a living.
I know. I always ask, it's my favorite question to ask when I interview golfers, what do you do for your recreation time? And most of them sit behind a desk and talk about sports for 3 hours a day.
Yay!
Okay, this is awesome. If you haven't seen it. Meanwhile on planet Earth, this comes from The Price is Right. Just listen to this. Okay, you want to say hi?
I want to say hi to my son, Patrick Beverly. Hi, Maya Beverly. Happy birthday, Vinny. They smoke for the tickets. Hi, Mama. Hey, Larry. Woo, H-Town. Woo!
Okay, that is Patrick Beverly's mom. She needed to get $1 to get to the final showcase. Watch the dude. Watch the dude. Forget about Patrick Beverly's mom. Watch the dude. And in the end, Patrick Beverly's mom won not 1 car, but 2 cars. She won a trip to Madagascar, and she won over $41,000.
Why did I just get goosebumps?
On The Price is Right.
I have no idea.
I don't know. And yet to me, the best part remains the dude, just falling straight down like that.
Well, because you don't see that. You don't see that spin very often.
She needed to roll. She needed to get the $1 exactly, and she got it. She went on to the Showcase Showdown.
By this time tomorrow, family and friends are trying to figure out ways to get those vehicles from her.
I know. Hey, if they want to pay the taxes.
And his prediction from
And
yesterday
insurance.
Go ahead.
was exactly right. All right, we got a lot to get to today. We're just getting started. So we talked about Giancarlo Stanton smashing against the Stros, but we'll tell you why his dual home run night wasn't even the most impressive performance in the majors. And what does fixing a foul do after the fact? How Kevin Love's elbow could change the series after the fact. That's on the way. This is Get Up.
This is our good side. This is our other good side.